Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 369 based on novel. So let's start. Inside the first cave, Wang Lin opened the bag of holding. There were a lot of origin crystals inside. It seemed that Chen Qianjun had indeed been earnestly collecting them. He waved his right hand and all the origin crystals from the bag were dumped out on the surrounding restrictions. Popping sounds echoed as all the origin crystals Wang Lin had placed before had all their origin energy drained and dissipated into dust. As they dissipated, the new origin crystals fell. Large amounts of origin energy entered the Mosquito beast through the restrictions. Large amounts of vitality entered the Mosquito's body, and it slowly recovered from its weakened state. The purple on its body disappeared and was replaced by a faint, golden glow. The golden light was very dim, but when it appeared, the Mosquito's body released pressure. 100 years of refining with enough origin crystals to make any sect's heart ache, along with a special method, finally allowed the Mosquito beast to successfully transform. As origin energy continued to enter it, the Mosquito beast looked better and better, and it began to struggle and roar. Finally, when about 70% of the origin crystals in the bag were consumed, the Mosquito beast let out a roar and rushed out of the cocoon. The moment it flew out, its sharp mouth stabbed into the cocoon and sucked it dry. The loud roar echoed out of the cave. The pale, golden Mosquito beast was very cheerful as it circled Wang Lin. Its large mouth kept licking Wang Lin, and it seemed very excited. The size of the Mosquito beast had changed. It was now only 30 feet long, but it gave off an aura that rivaled Nirvana cleanser cultivators. Wang Lin smiled as he waved his right hand to put the Mosquito away. The Mosquito beast was his ace, and before he had his own horde, he wouldn't let others see it. After walking out from the cave, Wang Lin pondered a bit and then took away all things in the caves, including the giant pill furnace. As for the caves with the lost ones and enlightened ones, they were now all empty. All of them had died in his battle with the white-haired old man when the white-haired old man summoned all of their Dao intents. Even the old man in the 8th cave had disappeared without a trace. There were only bones and ashes on the ground now. Although Sima Mo had found all his sect members, none of them had awakened, and they all dissipated. Wang Lin let out a sigh as he stood outside the 6th cave and his hand pressed down on the stone gate. The time restriction rippled, but at this moment, Wang Lin's eyes lit up and his right fist mercilessly smashed into it. A powerful impact came from Wang Lin and landed on the rock. Also, the star formed by Wang Lin's law flashed at this moment. There was a heaven-shaking rumble as the rock under his fist cracked and collapsed. Chen Qianjun personally saw this. He gasped and looked at Wang Lin in awe. Even Master Cloud Soul outside the valley noticed it, and his mind trembled. The moment he opened the rock, Wang Lin could clearly feel that he was much stronger than before. This feeling was very good. Wang Lin entered the cave, picked up the jade inside, and scanned it with his divine sense. Just as he expected, the jade contained the method of the time restriction. Using the same method, Wang Lin opened the 7th cave and also took the jade inside. Wang Lin scanned it with his divine sense, and after memorizing the time restriction, he crushed the jade. The time restriction was one of the 4 great restrictions, and even Sima Mo required 100 years to learn it. This restriction was so profound that it needed careful studying to learn. It was also powerful, and if Wang Lin's cultivation level hadn't increased greatly, or he didn't have great knowledge in restrictions, or he hadn't inherited the annihilation restriction, he could not have broken it so easily. In addition, the most important part was that Sima Mo hadn't learned the true essence of the time restriction. After all, he didn't have enough time and only just barely learned it. Wang Lin wouldn't allow others to learn it from the jade due to his negligence. Therefore, he destroyed the jade so that only he could master it. This 9th cave had the most restrictions and was also the most mysterious among all of Sima Mo's caves. Wang Lin saw 7 colored fog inside but couldn't see inside the fog. Moving forward, he arrived outside the 9th cave. He placed his right hand on the rock and pressed down. Ripples spread across the rock and it slowly became transparent. Wang Lin's eyes were like lightning as he looked inside the cave and saw the seven-colored fog that seemed to have existed for an eternity. The seven-colored light seemed to leak out from the cave, lighting up this dark valley. Looking at the seven-colored fog inside the cave, Wang Lin vaguely saw something. At the center of the seven-colored fog was a skeleton. It was the corpse of a beast, and it looked like a small deer. However, there was a short sword stabbed into the beast's bones. The moment Wang Lin saw this, his eyes lit up. He clearly remembered that he had seen something like this before in the seven-colored realm. He didn't understand what this meant. After pondering for a long time, Wang Lin's right fist fell on the rock. Popping sounds echoed, but the rock didn't collapse. Wang Lin frowned, then his hands formed another fist and he let out a cold snort. There was a loud rumble, and the entire valley seemed to tremble. The amount of cracks increased until the rock shattered into countless fragments. The seven-colored fog didn't change at all due to the collapse of the rock, it still stayed in a blob and moved strangely. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he slowly walked into the cave. He stopped outside the fog and began to carefully observe it with his divine sense. After a long time, Wang Lin's expression changed and he saw some clues. This fog hadn't appeared out of nowhere, it seemed to have come from skeleton of the deer. Interesting, Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he raised his right hand to reach into the fog, but his expression suddenly changed and his right hand stopped. At his moment, he could clearly feel the All-Seer's origin soul struggling to charge out from the 18 Hell Celestial sealing stamp. This was the first time a soul that was sealed and removed from the reincarnation cycle showed signs of struggle when it wasn't summoned. Wang Lin's mind immediately entered the 18 Hell Celestial sealing stamp. He swept through the 18 layers of hell to where the All-Seer's soul was and fused with it without any hesitation. Wang Lin's aura gradually changed drastically. He no longer looked like Wang Lin but became the All-Seer. He was calm, as if everything in the world was under his control and nothing could move him. Feeling the All-Seer's soul, Wang Lin could clearly sense the soul's desire for the seven-colored fog. This desire was very strong, it was obvious from its attempt to break out from the celestial sealing stamp. Desire. I want to see what use this seven-colored fog has to you. Wang Lin's eyes revealed a seven-colored light and his right hand reached into the fog. Just at this instant, the seven-colored fog churned and entered Wang Lin's right hand. Soon, all the seven-colored fog disappeared, but more appeared from the beast bone, and that new fog was also absorbed by Wang Lin's right hand. The fog entered Wang Lin's origin energy and went directly into the celestial sealing stamp. The All-Seer's soul began to absorb it like crazy, and as he absorbed, it was as if he had gone from being an illusion to having flesh and blood. Wang Lin felt like he was looking at the real All-Seer rather than a fusion of two souls from the All-Seer's avatars. Time slowly passed. After 15 minutes, the beast bone no longer gave off seven-colored fog. All the fog that went into Wang Lin's body was absorbed by the All-Seer's soul. The All-Seer's soul sat down as if he was cultivating to digest. The feeling that Wang Lin disliked a lot became more and more clear. Very interesting, Wang Lin observed for a while and then withdrew his divine sense. His gaze fell on the short word inside the beast's bones. Wang Lin pulled out the sword and carefully looked at it. There was also a seal on it, and it was exactly the same as the one he got before. The moment he pulled out the sword, the beast bone turned into ashes. After pondering a bit, Wang Lin knew it was not the time to release the seal. He put away the short sword and walked out of the cave. Looking at the dark sky, Wang Lin softly said, "Let us leave." With that, he moved and took Chen Qianjun out of the valley. Master Cloud Soul followed as they charged toward the edge of the seven-colored realm. The three of them quickly moved with Wang Lin as the lead, and an aura suddenly appeared in the distance. It was the old woman in green. She seemed very hesitant and didn't dare to come in too close, instead opting to follow behind them. The 4 rays of light flew across the sky and arrived at the edge of the seven-colored realm. They arrived at where the altar was when they arrived, but the altar had collapsed. Standing here, Wang Lin's hands formed a seal and the method to leave he had obtained from Master Ashenpine's memories appeared in his mind. His hands moved faster and seals appeared in the void. As it gave off a gentle light, a hidden crack seemed to slowly open. However, just at this instant, Wang Lin's expression changed, his hand stopped, and his head looked up at the dark sky. At this moment, a giant vortex appeared out of nowhere. When it appeared, it seemed to cause the dark sky to collapse and made the fragments of the sky part of the vortex. Two ruthless gazes that had been marked by the passage of time appeared within the vortex and fell on Wang Lin. "You've devoured my Dao fruit and you want to just leave like this." This sound was like thunder descending from the sky, causing the earth to tremble. Countless cracks appeared on the earth as if it was going to collapse. The sound of collapse was hidden in the darkness and came from all directions. The moment this sound appeared, a pressure came from all directions and slowly descended. As the pressure descended, the seven-colored realm seemed to become a void where endless power began to rush in from all directions. Chen Qianjun was the weakest person here. Just under this pressure, his origin soul trembled and blood came out from the corner of his mouth. He subconsciously took several steps back as his expression changed greatly, and he took out pills to devour to help him resist this pressure. Master Cloud Soul's face was pale as he stared at the sky. He looked at the pair of eyes and felt like he was naked under the gaze. Popping sounds came from his body and his face became even more pale. The old woman in green's pupils shrank and her face became pale. An illusion appeared around her as she quickly changed between an old woman and a beautiful, middle-aged woman. Only Wang Lin stood tall. As the pressure descended on him, the area around him began to distort. It was as if there was a law around him that didn't seem to mix with the world. He stared at the eyes in the vortex and remained silent, but his right hand gradually formed a fist. "I won't bully you. If you can survive this palm, I'll let you live." The voice from inside the vortex sounded tired as it slowly spread out. The moment this voice fell, the vortex in the sky rotated rapidly. The speed of the rotation immediately reached a peak. As it stirred up the sky, even the eyes became hidden inside the vortex. The vortex roared loudly and the world seemed to start to collapse before Wang Lin's eyes. Just at this instant, the vortex descended with the power to destroy the world. It was as if all life was going to be torn apart and become part of the vortex. As the vortex descended, the earth trembled violently and the sounds of endless tearing echoed in the darkness. Chen Qianjun coughed out blood. As the vortex descended, his origin soul trembled violently. Master Cloud Soul and the old woman in green all trembled, and their eyes were filled with panic. The vortex descended even faster, pressing down on the earth. Wang Lin's eyes flashed cold and he jumped into the air like a meteor. He charged straight into the sky and threw a heaven-shaking punch at the vortex in the sky. A heaven-shaking rumble echoed across the seven-colored realm like roaring thunder. Countless bolts of thunder flashed in the sky along with the punch. Like millions of silver snakes, they lit up the world. The countless thunderbolts had appeared due to Wang Lin's punch. When the punch landed, the thunder all gathered on Wang Lin's right fist, forming an unimaginable impact that shot up at the sky. The thunderous rumble continued to echo, but the vortex didn't stop at all and mercilessly pressed down on Wang Lin. Floating in the air, Wang Lin's clothes made a lot of noise. He could clearly feel that the suction from the vortex wanted to suck out his origin soul, suck out his origin energy, and crush his body. "Do you all want to wait here to die or rush out with me?" Wang Lin's words echoed like a blast of cold wind that landed in the ears of the three people below. Master Cloud Soul clenched his teeth and jumped to the left of Wang Lin. He waved his sleeves, causing countless soul fragments to appear, and they let out shrill cries. Master Cloud Soul's expression became ferocious. The old woman in green was pale, but she didn't hesitate to charge out and stand to the right of Wang Lin. Her hands formed a seal and a mist appeared around her. The mist was blood red and contained the aura of life and death. There were a large amount of restrictions flashing inside. Chen Qianjun was the last person to fly out. He stood below Wang Lin. He waved his hand and all the pores on his body opened up. The aura of beast souls appeared until more than 10 beast souls were surrounding him. Among them there were 2 rank 12 beast souls. Although they were extremely weak and not as mighty as when they were still alive, it was still shocking. Wang Lin didn't look at the 3 around him. The star made of law flashed between his eyebrows. Then he waved his right hand and the trident appeared. He gripped it tightly in his hand. What about the power of one palm? Wang Lin rushed out while laughing at the vortex descending from this sky. It looked like the sky was collapsing and was going to crash down to the earth. All life would be crushed. No chance for survival. As Wang Lin continued to charge, the thunder around him flashed like crazy and battle intent filled his body. An unexpected desire to contend against the world began to form. Even if the sky was going to collapse, he would find a way to charge through and kill the heavens. Under this battle intent, Master Cloud Soul let out a roar and the soul fragments around him began to gather. He took out a black awl and spat blood on it as if releasing a seal. The awl immediately gave off an ancient aura as he rushed out after Wang Lin toward the vortex. Master Cloud Soul's blood seemed to be boiling. If he could charge out, he would live, if not, he would die. The old woman in green's face was without blood, but her eyes were bright and determined. She waved her right hand and the mist around her split into two. One was life and the other was death, and they coiled around her like two dragons. The life and death fog dragons charged out with her as she followed Wang Lin. Chen Qianjun followed as all the beast souls roared and gathered around him. They let out roars of struggle for survival as they charged out like crazy. The 4 rays of light closed in on the vortex in the sky, with Wang Lin leading the way. They got closer and closer. An instant later, they collided. Wang Lin was filled with battle intent as he waved the trident and began his attack on the vortex. His body was filled with the power of an ancient god as he moved like a meteor that could break all barriers in the world. He ripped a hole in the vortex. However, the vortex was too big. When it shrouded them, Chen Qianjun was the first that couldn't withstand it. The beast souls around him collapsed and his body trembled before he exploded and was absorbed by the vortex. His origin soul struggled to escape, but the vortex was too strong and he was about to be pulled in. "You're promised to take me out. You're promised." Chen Qianjuan's origin soul released a miserable divine sense message. The moment his message echoed, Wang Lin suddenly turned around and his right hand reached out. He grabbed Chen Qianjuan's origin soul and began fighting with the power of the vortex. With a bang, Chen Qianjuan's origin soul was split in half. One part was devoured by the vortex and the other half was taken by Wang Lin. Wang Lin charged at the gap in the vortex. The moment Master Cloud Soul charged into the vortex, popping sounds echoed in his body and he coughed out blood. All the soul fragments around him died and even the magic treasure collapsed. However, the magic treasure wasn't ordinary, and by using its collapse, he rushed into the gap Wang Lin had opened. The old woman in green clenched her teeth and charged at the gap. Under the powerful suction force, all her life and death restrictions broke and she coughed out blood. Seeing the suction force increase and the gap closing fast, she formed a seal. Then she pointed to between her eyebrows and caused her body to tremble. A figure appeared on her right and another on her left. One was an old woman and the other was a middle-aged woman. The moment these two figures appeared, they chose to self-destruct. She was able to find a path to survive at this moment of danger. With the power of the double self-destruction, the old woman in green was able to get through the gap in the vortex. However, this wasn't over, it had just begun. The vortex went through everyone and landed on the ground. A thunderous rumble echoed as the earth trembled and began to move. 5 towering mountains suddenly appeared. Looking down from where Wang Lin was, he could clearly see everything. This is, blood continued to come out from the corner of his mouth, and there was no joy in escaping. As he stared at the earth, his eyes revealed disbelief and fear. The old woman beside him was far too injured and looked dispirited, but her eyes revealed the same level of fear. This entire earth unexpectedly became a giant palm at this moment. The 5 towering mountains were the 5 fingers of the palm. The large amount of cracks that had appeared on the ground were the palm's palm print. This palm's size was beyond imagination. The palm made up of the 7-colored realm slowly gave off an aura far more powerful than the vortex. What was the power of a palm? The 7-colored realm was the palm, the mountains were fingers, and the cracks on the land were the palm prints. This was the power of a palm mentioned by the ancient voice. At this moment, Wang Lin, Master Cloud Soul, and the old woman in green were still inside the seven-colored realm, which was inside the palm. The tired, ancient words echoed inside Wang Lin's mind. The meaning of these words was still very obvious. Escape the palm and they will live. Just at this moment, the palm formed by the seven-colored realm began to slowly close. A majestic aura spread and a thunderous rumble echoed as the fingers closed in. It was as if the palm wanted to crush the ants at its center. There was no fear in Wang Lin's eyes, and a powerful battle intent filled his body and his blood seemed to boil. Between his eyebrows, 6 blurry ancient god stars rotated rapidly, and at the center was the star made of the lore of his domain. At a glance, he looked like a 7-star ancient god. Let's fight! Wang Lin held the trident and swept it to the side of his body. He was like a battle celestial as he rushed down. While charging, the ring Wang Lin got from Pang Datsai shined and rays of light surrounded him. The light rotated rapidly, forming a storm around Wang Lin. Wang Lin charged at the giant palm made of the 7-colored realm. Master Cloud Soul hesitated a bit, then he clenched his teeth and charged after Wang Lin. As for the old woman in green, she was too injured. Without thinking, she flew up in an attempt to avoid the palm. The palm formed by the entire 7-colored realm rumbled as the 5 fingers closed in. It wanted to completely crush Wang Lin. This scene shocked the world. The 5 fingers formed by the mountains came from 5 directions and pressed down. The entire sky was occupied by the mountains. It was a shocking moment. The quickest was the pinky finger of the palm. Before it even got close, there were already bursts of wind. This wind was very powerful. It was as if the world would collapse under it and all life would perish. In the wind, the old woman that was already seriously injured became deathly pale. However, she struggled to fly higher in an attempt to escape the palm. She knew that the target of this unimaginable palm was Wang Lin. As long as Wang Lin died, it should calm down. At this point, she no longer dared to even think about leaving this 7-colored realm. The only thought in her mind was to survive. No matter what, she had to survive. As long as I can last until that person named Lu dies, I can live. The old woman's green robe was stained with blood. She struggled in the wind to fly higher. Wang Lin's eyes were filled with battle intent as he saw the pinky closing in. The finger was incomparably large and almost covered half the sky. At this moment, it bent down toward Wang Lin. I wonder if this person is the sovereign. He wants me to escape, but why should I escape and how can I escape? I might as well fight. Wang Lin laughed as the star made of law rotated and his left hand pointed at the sky. Black wind suddenly filled the sky. This black wind was very dense, enough to completely cover the sky. There were 6 dragons roaring inside it that immediately charged at the pinky. The moment the 6 black dragons appeared, a 7th black dragon appeared inside the black wind. Originally, with Wang Lin's cultivation level, 6 was his limit, but with the star made of law, he was able to break the limit and call out the 7th dragon. The 7th black dragon carried a cold energy that could extinguish life toward the pinky finger. If Pinky Finger was the towering mountain, then the 7 black dragons were the celestial dragons that would smash the mountain down. They wouldn't give up until the mountain collapsed. A thunderous rumble echoed across the world as a huge impact scattered like crazy. Not only did Wang Lin not retreat from this shockwave, he closed in and pointed at the sky. As the black dragons continued to smash into the mountain and collapsed one by one, a cold energy appeared. It contained a sticky feeling, and in a flash, countless flashes of light appeared. Then drops of rain instantly formed. The moment the raindrops appeared, endless origin energy condensed, stirred up the wind, and fused with the raindrops. An extreme aura suddenly enveloped the area. The moment Wang Lin waved his left hand, these raindrops shot out like swords and charged toward the palm below. Cracking sounds echoed as white frost appeared on the surface of the palm, and in the blink of an eye, ice appeared. In particular, the pinky finger was hit by most of the raindrops. The frost swept over it and it was wrapped in inks. The ice didn't stop here but immediately burst open. This wasn't due to the power of the palm, but the ability of summon the rain. Before Wang Lin's cultivation level increased, this change would not have appeared. However, after his cultivation level increased, and with the stimulation of the battle domain, this drastic change to summon the rain occurred. After the rain was ice, and after the ice was collapse. The power of the ice would cause the target to collapse, creating an attack far more powerful than just ice. Sounds of the ice collapsing echoed across the seven-colored realm. The palm with 5 fingers shook but didn't stop at all, it immediately came crashing down. Even the pinky only shook a bit, regardless of how much the black dragons or the ice collapse attacked it. Wang Lin's eyes were bloodshot. After using ice collapse, he didn't stop. He waved his left hand and opened his mouth. The celestial sealing stamp flew out and a large amount of battle souls appeared, but not the All-Seer's soul. The rest all followed Master Void and charged toward the pinky with mournful cries. Wang Lin was already going all out. After he used Magic Arsenal, his left hand formed a seal as he pointed at the ground and shouted. Mountain crumbles. The entire earth trembled as 5 majestic volcanoes formed before Wang Lin, the fire inside them raging. Although they were illusions, the mountains continued to crumble. Also, at this moment, countless strands of slaughter energy charged out of his body. This was all the slaughter energy he had absorbed from the grey-robed All-Seer. The slaughter energy condensed into a red sword and shot toward the pinky that was closing in, along with all his other spells. All of this happened in a flash. All of them appeared as the 5 fingers closed in. At this moment, black wind filled the sky, the black dragons roared, rain was everywhere, ice collapsed, battle souls roared and even self-destructed, mountain crumbles formed a monstrous force, and there was slaughter energy in the air. All of this became an extremely powerful spell, and it shot toward the pinky. The 6 volcanoes immediately overlapped with the pinky, and there was an earth-shattering rumble. The 7 black dragons collided with the pinky and exploded. The rain continued to form ice that continued to collapse. Endless battle souls closed in and suddenly exploded, creating powerful impacts. The sword made of slaughter energy stabbed into the finger and shattered into countless strands of slaughter energy. A large amount of slaughter energy rushed inside the finger. The earth shook enough for Master Cloud Soul to cough out blood and the origin soul of the old woman in green to almost collapse. This heaven-shaking rumble echoed across the realm. The pinky formed by the mountain suddenly collapsed. As cracking sounds echoed, countless cracks appeared as the upper part of the pinky finger exploded, creating a storm that scattered in all directions. Wang Lin's face turned pale and he coughed out blood. The light protecting him shattered and Pang Tsai's ring shattered. Wang Lin's body was immediately thrown backward. Master Cloud Soul was behind Wang Lin. With Wang Lin in front, the pressure he suffered decreased a lot. However, his origin soul trembled, all the meridians in his body shattered, and his bones all broke. He became a bloody mess. The old woman in green was far away and therefore wasn't affected by the shockwave much. She had been flying up, so she had escaped by sheer luck, but the shockwave still almost caused her body to collapse. She originally thought that she had escaped this calamity and felt lucky, but soon her expression changed greatly. She wanted to retreat, but it was too late as the index finger moved at an incredible speed and collided with her. The old woman in green's body became a blood mist. Her origin soul struggled to escape, but as Wang Lin retreated, he waved his sleeve and captured her origin soul. The palm made of the 7-colored realm had 5 fingers, and now half a finger was missing. However, the pinky that was broken in half didn't dissipate but absorbed the origin energy of the world like crazy, and it was rapidly reforming. Once this half a finger reformed, all of Wang Lin's effort would be in vain. At this moment of crisis, Wang Lin's eyes were filled with battle intent and madness. He charged toward the index finger that had swept past the old woman. He had to be fast as the other 3 fingers were closing in as well. He can imagine that once all the fingers closed in and the palm formed a fist, he would have no chance of survival. He had encountered countless crises in his life, but the person who was causing the crisis was the strongest one he had ever faced. When the index finger closed in, Wang Lin's left hand reached at the void and Master Ashenpine's pseudo-nirvana void treasure, the crystal sword, appeared. He spat out blood onto the crystal sword to draw out its full potential and then threw it at the index finger. The crystal sword immediately released a heaven-shaking sword hymn and a monstrous sword energy. It was shrouded in sword energy as it shot toward the index finger. Pseudo-Nirvana void treasures were extremely rare in the sealed realm. These were treasures with great power. At this moment, the sword charged out with the power to cut the heavens and instantly collided with the index finger. A thunderous rumble echoed. Before this rumble, Wang Lin's roar seemed a bit lacking, but it caused the crystal sword to release an even more powerful attack. Sword, shatter! The moment Wang Lin spoke, the crystal sword suddenly collapsed, forming an unimaginable shockwave that caused the index finger to pause. He didn't have time to feel his heart ache as his left hand waved outside his storage space and a treasure flew out. The same pseudo-Nirvana void aura spread out. There was still one more pseudo-Nirvana void treasure inside Master Ashenpine's storage space. It was a blue battle axe. This axe was refined by some unknown method and had a large amount of seals on it. This video will end here.